Everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of JM Growth Co., and this is where we help business growth made simple for everyone involved. If you're a business owner or you run a business and you want your business to grow, you're in the right step. I've helped my businesses grow to 3 levels of success. Level 1, $1 million in sales. Level 2, $1 million in profit. And level 3, scale and sell if that's what you're after. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between scale and scaling. 2 completely different things. People mix them up all the time. So I'm going to be talking to my business owners out there who own brick and mortar businesses, right? So this specifically is important for brick and mortar businesses, which means you have physical locations that require a geographical area around you of customers to kind of get to you. So we're talking about like restaurants, laundromats, anything that you actually have to go to a physical spot and the customers come to you in that physical location. This is going to be super, super important to you. So this is probably what you've been experiencing. If you got 1 location, maybe you got 2 locations now, you're like, okay, how do I actually scale? You're looking at it, hey, I'm making good revenue, things are growing, but I'm still in the business all the time, and I don't know when I'm ready to open up my very next location itself, right? So at the end of this video, we're gonna make sure that you fully understand when is it the right time to expand, and what is the difference between scale and scaling. So let's just go through that. So when it comes to scale means whatever footprint that you have, even if you have 1 location currently, it's about maxing that out to that full potential. So right here, we got 1 brick and mortar location. We're going to say, okay, this brick and mortar location is going to be making about $1 million in sales, right? Now, we're like, okay, if I want to make $2 million in sales, let's just open up another brick and mortar location. And that might be okay, because if each one does 1 million and 1 million, that would equal 2. And at that point, you're happy. Hey, I just doubled my business. But this is the things to ask yourself before you're ready to move on. Question number 1, how much of an operator are you in this first business right over here? If you're still an operator, which means you're spending at least 80% of your time operating the business, dealing with problems in the business itself, you are nowhere near ready to scale, right? Do not continue on to level number 2, because all you're gonna do is actually create yourself more problems and you're going to start making less money. This happened to me in the restaurant business. One of my first businesses that I had in a 4-year time period, I was able to go from 1 restaurant to 14 restaurants, which was a fast expansion between me and my partners that we opened up. And also in that 4-year time period, we opened up 14 and we went all the way back down to 1. The main lesson I learned there was we were not ready to start scaling yet. We had no systems, we had no processes. I was still a heavy operator there, and we did not prove out the system before we were able to start scaling, right? But you're like, hey, my competitors are taking over. I need to keep growing. I'll handle that, no big deal. So if that's the case, boom, kill location number 2, you ain't ready for it. Step number 1, you wanna make sure, rule of thumb, let's kind of erase this first. Rule of thumb is going to be, so we're erasing location number 2, get that out of your head. I don't care how fast you want to grow, make sure you hit this check mark. You must only be spending 10 to 20% of your time actually operating the business. Most of the business itself should just be working on the business, not in the business. So this is going to prove, once you're feeling like, hey, you're that doer, you always want to keep doing things and you're feeling bored because everyone else is doing their job and you don't have to correct anybody, at that point, you are now ready to potentially move forward. But that's just the first check mark. This is number 1. Number 2, the question to ask yourself is, did we max this out? Is there any unlocked potential here, right? Ask about unlocked potential. So for unlocked potential, if this is doing $1 million a year in sales, is there something that we can do more? Because now that you're only spending 10 to 20% of your time actually operating the business, which is talking to managers, maybe reviewing reports or anything like that, you got 80 to 90% of your time now to work on the business. So in this 1 location, could you bring this location to 1.5 mil? And if that's the case, and you can bring it to $1.5 million, at that point, that extra $500,000, most of that is going to be pure profit. Because when it comes to brick and mortar businesses, we got fixed costs. You got your rent, you got your utilities, you got your labor. And if you are able to generate more revenue in 1 location, you can actually bring most of this $500,000 right down to your bottom line, because all those other expenses are pretty much fixed inside of there. So if that's the case and you want to make more money, I'd rather have you calm your ego down, max this one out, And now keep working on this too. Now, the question is, can I bring it down to 5 to 10% of my time being working on the business and I'm feeling super bored? And then can I unlock any more potential? Once you've maxed this out, that means you have all of the SOPs in place. And that's what you're going to do for 80 to 90% of the time when you're not working in the business itself, you're working on the business. You're going to be like, okay, what systems do I need for marketing? What systems do I need for sales? What systems do I need for operations? And we can help you out with all 3 of those things if that's what you want, because that's how we view business in a very simple way. But now, once you have an SOP, and at this point you have an actual system like McDonald's, where you can hire somebody off the street, go through a training, and you don't even have to do any part of that, then and only then are you ready to start scaling. So my restaurant idea, within 4 years, we were able to open up 14, close a bunch. So every single time we opened up, I was exciting, it was new, I was growing. I was able to tell everybody, yeah, I got 14 different restaurants with a bunch of different people. Everyone looked at me, wow, this guy must know exactly what he's doing. But on the inside, I saw the numbers and I was making less money every single month, but working twice as hard. I want you to work less and make more. And you can only do that if you follow the steps properly when it comes between scale and scaling. Now, my other business when I learned this lesson was Driving Academy, a CDO school, very niche market. Again, a brick and mortar. At this point, first 5 years of business, I had 1 location. I was the operator. I was the one doing it every single day, learning the system, improving the system, kind of scaling the business, continue to scale and max out the opportunity. Do I have any unlocked potential here? I would build the system, right, to handle X amount of students per month. And then all of a sudden I would say, okay, let's market more, let's get more students, and my system would break. And then I would focus on, okay, how do I actually build a better system? With the ultimate goal of, I'll be an operator for the short term, again, 5 years of working, and then I can now be an owner for the long term. And in just about 2 years, we've been able to open up 13 different locations between franchisees and corporate locations itself. And now we are actually making more money and I'm not working anymore because I spent the time to actually invest in actually working on the system and I focused on scale. Scale is what's going to make you rich. Scaling is what's going to multiply you, right? So scale is going to show you 2 different skills, how to make money and how to keep it. If you understand this and you're not part of the day-to-day, then you're ready to start scaling. Now, when it does time to start scaling, at this point, you've already brought this location to 1.5, and now it's time to start scaling to multiple. Now, scaling has a whole separate system of problems with when it comes to scaling. So now when you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to a bunch after, you're gonna start learning new skills and new tools. Because now you went through, okay, you got really good with one location. How do I market? How do I get new customers? You got systems and processes for all that. How do I train my team? You got systems and processes for all that to make sure operations are working well. When it comes to scaling, you gotta add another process. How do I open up new locations? Because in the beginning, you're gonna be the one doing it to learn, but ultimately you wanna get yourself back out of the operator role because that's gonna limit how fast you can actually scale. So when you think about Starbucks or anything like those guys who actually scaled, they stayed very small for a long period of time before they blew up because they worked on the infrastructure, they worked on the foundation. The way that I want you to think about it is whenever they build a skyscraper, you see a skyscraper that's like 100 stories high, the thing you don't see is all of the footings that happen underneath the ground. And then once they go above ground, all these different floors, they start building these things like 1 week at a time. And then you'll see a skyscraper get brought up like this. But this only works if the foundation is right, and that happens from scale. Now, when it comes to scaling, now you have to change from a manager to an actual leader. Because now at this point, this only works if you've actually been able to duplicate your leadership ability and your management ability. So if you want help with any of this stuff at all, between scale and scaling, definitely check out our website, jmgrowthco.com. We can guide you through any step of the business to actually get you through one of the 3 levels of success. Level 1, $1 million in sales. Level 2, $1 million in profit. Level 3, let's scale and sell this baby if that's what you want. So that being said, are you in the stage where you should just scale what you have? Or are you actually truly ready to start scaling and multiplying the efforts that you've made? All right? So put in the comments below, are you scale or scaling? And let me know your thoughts on this business. And again, if you're interested, check out our website, jmgrowthco.com. We can help you out and make business growth simple.